And so I would agree with you on the premise of naturalism in sense of if, life does end at the grave, that there is no sort of value made outside of that, that life is meaningless, life is purposeless, and human beings are only valued based on what we decide to value them from person to person. I guess where I would draw the line while theism, or in this case Christianity, is different is because there is a maximally great being or an objective source, a creator of all things that displays that value from an objective sense outside of our mind to individual people. So whether or not I don't like Jalen and I think he's a terrible scum does not change the value that a maximally great being might put on that person, because the infinitely great or maximal being we could simply put still has value on that individual, if that makes sense. Or we could say divine purpose is another way to go with that in terms of prescribing that sort of thing. Because I know we talked about meaning and value. I don't know if we're looking at those as synonyms or direct constants. I kind of tried to divide. I'm not sure where we're kind of going with that. But either way, it is coming from an objective source, i.e. outside of the human mind and even outside of our universe.
Okay. Jalen, I don't know how much of this last bit you missed. Is your audio in better shape?
I think so. You guys hear me good?
Yeah, sounds great.
You're fine.
I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Jalen, in terms of the difference between he was agreeing that naturalism, and correct me if I'm wrong, David, of course, that life is meaningless, has no objective meaning, value, or purpose. We may not like it, but that's the case. I would 100% agree with that, especially as a former nihilist. But I would disagree that theism is the same way, based on the characteristics we know about God and God being independent of our individual minds.
Exactly. So that's what makes it objective, is pretty much what Dylan explained, is the fact that our value comes from outside of us and even outside of this universe. It comes from a transcendent creator who isn't wired and like us in that way, in terms of how values change depending on what's going on, scenarios and things like that. It comes from a totally different source that we don't ourselves create and have any control over.
Okay.